Merry Christmas to all, and to all we wish a happy National Signing Day tomorrow. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. We got Mayhem Matthew here. It's Touchdown Tuesdays. We're live on both channels, plus the Ballard Sports Media Facebook page. Mayhem, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Got myself a new computer today. It's working well. It seems like it. The other one was making a lot of noise and kind of slow, but it looks like everything's kind of clear for me. How it looks and everything. Does it sound okay? How's it sounded on your end?
Sounds great on my end. So you want to tell the internet what we're going to be doing today, what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so tonight I figured we'd kick things off and just talk about our teams in recruiting, what we've heard, what are the rumors, what are we seeing? Because National Signing Day is tomorrow, and I figured, I'm going to be working. I usually would do a stream during the day. Then I got church, and it's just going to be a busy day. So I figured if we're going to talk recruiting on the channel, and even it would help you out too, why not do it tonight?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So, as you see by the title, guys, recruiting Christmas gifts for college football teams. It is that time of year. And what do you say we start? We're going to put them on the spot. We're going to start with Mayhem here. Mayhem opens up a Christmas gift for UGA for National Signing Day. What would you gift them with? Is there a certain recruit or player out there that you look at and say, this is the guy for UGA, give them the present? Or a position group?
Can we include the transfer portal in this, or is this strictly recruiting?
Yeah. Yeah, and you could even do multiple, like, it doesn't have to be one gift, but like anything that you would want to give Georgia for signing day, go for it.
As far as recruiting goes, obviously KJ Bolden. We
Uh-huh.
already have the number one recruiting class. We lost Dylan Raiola, but we still have the number one recruiting class as of right now. And also, as far as Christmas gift goes, I would like to cap off signing day with the number one recruiting class. Also, for the transfer portal, give me Walter Nolan. Yeah, that's a big name swirling around. We need some
Yep.
guys on the defensive front. Walter Nolan would be really big for the Georgia Bulldogs. I hear that it's between Ole Miss and Georgia in that race. So as far as recruiting goes, give me KJ Bolden. And as far as transfer portal goes, give me Walter Nolan.
I don't want to take from you. I like KJ Bolden as well. Um, so I guess now I got to come up with it because I honestly, you kind of stole my guy right there. But I look at this list here. I look at the recruits. If I had to go and gift Alabama somebody, give me the 5-star that committed to Auburn and give me Cam Coleman from Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama. He's a 5-star. He's number one in the state, number two overall wide receiver, eighth nationally. Give me him. He is him. I've watched his highlights. He's fast. He's versatile. Kind of makes you think a little bit of Devontae Smith. Almost has that size. I think he's got a little bit more size on him. Alabama needs receiver help. They're stepping up in big ways, and hopefully they do that in the playoffs. But I mean, got to build depth at that position. If I had to go there, if I had to go to the transfer portal, uh, I don't really know. I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't looked into it too much. You say Walter Nolan. I get it pulled up here. I say, give me. Uh, I'll take a corner from Georgia. What are your thoughts on AJ Harris going to Alabama if they could help the secondary? Because you got
Yeah,
Kool Aid possibly leaving this year.
I'm hearing AJ Harris to Auburn. So Yeah, that could be
Really?
a great yeah, that's I'm hearing AJ Harris to Auburn, but I thought you was going to say the newly person that just hit the transfer portal, and that's Evan Stewart, wide receiver. Y'all haven't really had a explosive wide receiver in the last couple of years. So I thought you was going to say Evan Stewart there, 5-star wide receiver from Texas A&M.
Yeah, it kind of slipped my mind there. I mean, when I think Texas A&M today, I'm thinking Walter Nolan. Which, by the way, it's kind of interesting that he's actually crystal balled 100% to Ole Miss. What would you think about that for Ole Miss?
Yeah, Ole Miss right now is like number one or number two in the transfer portal rankings. They are getting almost everybody that they want. It would not be a surprise to me. Lane Kiffin is just that player's coach. You know what I mean? So that would definitely not surprise me. But it is a two-way battle between, like I said earlier in the stream, it is a two-way battle between Georgia and Ole Miss. And don't be surprised if he does, transfer to Georgia, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes to Ole Miss as well.
Want to definitely talk some other teams tonight outside of Georgia and Alabama because again, signing day tomorrow. A lot of good teams up there in the rankings. You have Florida with the top 10 class right now. Auburn's at 11, LSU at 12. You look at the SEC, Tennessee's at 14. I'm actually curious about the top five though. What would you say? You talk about the playoff teams. You got two of them in the top five, Alabama and Texas. Let's go to Texas. What have you noticed about them this year? Even though they made the playoffs, even though they've looked pretty good, is there a certain position group or anybody out there that you look at for Texas and say this could help them out in big ways next year?
Hmm. I mean, if anything, it would probably be their secondary. Uh, I mean, they have great offense and defensive lines. They have great. I mean, they have a great offense. Great wide receivers, great quarterback. I guess on offense, I would say tight ends, and then on the defense, I'd probably say the defensive backs. I mean, they got some great. They're just great all the way around. But whenever I look at Texas, and I think of things that they need help with, which the college football playoff is here. Washington versus Texas. I know you said on your preview video that it could be a high scoring game, and you're saying that because Texas's defense can be suspect at times. That's why you're saying that it could be a high scoring game. If Texas had some elite defense, you wouldn't be saying, well, this is going to be a high scoring game. You probably would say either Texas is going to blow them out or it's going to be a low scoring affair.
I fully agree with you, and I actually pulled up their class right quick. They have 3 5 stars in the class. One of them's an offensive tackle, but Xavier Phils Samey? I don't know how you say it. I don't want to butcher it. He's from McKinney High School in McKinney, Texas. Is a 5 star safety, second overall in his position, assuming right there behind KJ Bolden. Seventh in the state of Texas, 32 nationally. Colin Simmons is a linebacker from Duncanville, Texas, is a 5 star linebacker, fifth in the state, fourth linebacker overall, nationally ranked number 20. Brandon Baker from Modern Day, same high school as Bryce Young years ago. He's from California, offensive tackle, 5 star. It's amazing what they have for Texas. Overall, when you look at this, and by the way, this guy got picked up a few months ago, and I was able to review some film and everything on him. Jarrett Gibson is a good running back. Don't underestimate him just being a 4 star. He almost actually was a 5 star in some places. So, overall, when you look at Texas, are they set up? Let me ask you this. Is this playoff appearance a one time deal for Texas, or do you think with this recruiting that's going on, they could be set up for future success?
Well, let's just be
I'm not
honest.
asking you. here's the trap. I know you think that I'm going to get you to say Texas is back, but let's be honest. Let's not call them back till they win a title. How about that? We put
Well,
that aside.
they did win the Big 12. So I would say that they're as back as they're ever going to get, right? Um, but I was going to say that Texas had. Let's just be honest. Texas has a lot of money, especially that oil money, right? So it's going to benefit teams in Texas, Louisiana, stuff like that, right? Your LSU's, Texas, of the world, right? So, with that being said, I do think Texas is going to be right there in the playoff mix. Being in the SEC, I am a SEC homer, so this might be a take that other people might not believe, but I mean they're gonna wake up in the SEC one day and they're gonna get hit in the mouth. I think they are the more ready team to come into the SEC as far as Texas and Oklahoma goes. But and I think they're going to be really good, really, really good. Actually, great. They're going to be a great football team. NIL is helping Texas out a tremendous amount. And with that being said, uh, yeah, they're going to be right there in that college football playoff mix every year, year in and year out. Only thing is, how many SEC teams can you get into the playoffs? Because Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss is up there. They came off of, Ole Miss won 10 games 2 times in the last 3 years. So, these other teams, they're coming. Missouri, they won 10 games this year. Missouri's not falling off. Missouri's doing really good in transfer portal and really good for Missouri standards in recruiting as well. So with that being said, you got to find ways to knock off, the Missouris and Ole Misses of the world so you can get to the LSU's, Alabamas, and Georgias of the world, and Tennessee. Don't forget about Tennessee. Tennessee is right there in the mix too. They had a 10-win season not too long ago. Can't forget about them. So it's going to be a gauntlet. I mean, they come and they play Michigan next year on their schedule. So out of conference, and then they got to go through the SEC gauntlet. Uh, they got to play Georgia as well. So I mean, with that being said, yeah, I do think Texas can make the playoffs again in a 12-team scenario, but how many teams can the SEC get in the 12-team playoff? That'll be the better question.
No, absolutely. And sticking to Texas a little bit, I mean, you look at how they're dominating recruiting right now. I mean, brought in Arch Manning last year, and yeah, they've lost Malik Murphy to the transfer portal, but they bring in that Andrew Mabuka or from Clemson. I mean, they're even dominating in the portal right now. They're getting ready. They're setting up Stone to go and try, at least try to dominate the SEC. And I'm sure that even though there were a lot of people and they're still upset about this conference realignment, listen to me when I say that 5-10 years down the road from next year, when Texas and OU go to the SEC, we'll be looking at a team like Texas and saying, you know what, they belong here. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely think Texas belongs in the SEC. Old school football fans, they're going to say they always belong in the Big 12, but I think Texas can compete in the SEC. I really do. I really do believe Texas can compete in the SEC year in and year out. And I think Oklahoma can too. I know I keep on going to Oklahoma, but they're the two that's coming in from the Big 12. But I do think Texas is going to be more prepared to come into the SEC rather than Oklahoma. That might be a hot take. I don't really think it's that hot of a take. I think most people would agree with me, except for Oklahoma fans, obviously. But yeah, I think Texas, NIL was a Christmas present for them. NIL oil money down there. You can't get no more rich than that. And it's we talk about oil money, Texas A&M. That's another team I forgot to mention. They're going to be playing Texas. I'm assuming year in and year out. They play next year on rivalry week, so that's going to be a matchup to look forward to every single year. I don't think Texas wins that game every single year. I think Texas A&M, can beat them every other year or every 2 years or whatever it is. So everybody says that A&M, everybody says that Texas has an easier schedule in the SEC, but whenever you look at it, they have to play Michigan, they have to play Georgia, they have to play Texas A&M. They got they got a hard schedule, and I think people, non SEC fans that hate the SEC will say the SEC is just not the same what it used to be. But I mean, I think it's getting better. I think it's getting better. Georgia, LSU, Alabama, um, Auburn with Hugh Freeze. If you don't think he's going to get better, he's going to get better. A&M, they got rid of Jimbo Fisher. They're wanting to do more, and they're wanting to get to what they want. They want to get to the national conversation. So they're going to be a problem. Tennessee. So I mean, more than half of the conference, Missouri, more than half of the conference, even Ole Miss is going to be a problem for a team like Texas coming into the SEC.
Totally agree. I think it boils down to the experience that they've had in playing in this conference compared to Texas. And I'm not saying that they can't gain that experience. They're going to have to, and they will. But you come to the SEC, you play big boy football, right? I mean, that's fair. You get punched in the mouth a little bit. You get knocked on the ground, you get back up, you keep fighting. And I believe Texas is going to be a fighter in this league. I don't know about Oklahoma, though. I I think they'd be all right. They won't be too bad, but I don't like if you had to pick and choose between the two, it's not even a close race between who could get to 10 wins in the SEC first. I'm taking Texas in that one.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely taking Texas Tech, and I'm gonna be honest with you. With the transfer portal and NIL, they're doing really good with that too. But I still think recruiting is king. Texas is recruiting in the what top five, right, or top 10?
Yeah. Top Texas right now is top 5, I think. I
Yeah,
think
top
they might
five.
even be at number 5.
So they're top five, and they're also doing really good in the transfer portal, picking up some guys. So I think they got the best of both worlds. I think they got a complete team, and don't be surprised if Texas does win the national championship. I mean, don't be surprised. AD Mitchell is a back-to-back national champion, looking for his third in a row. So don't be surprised. I mean, I know it's hard to beat a really good team twice, but Washington, look at Washington. They beat Oregon twice. So it's not out of the realm of possibility if you're looking for Alabama to be in the national title or, something like that. Alabama versus Texas rematch. But also, with that being said, I do think Washington's a really good team. And my prediction is I think Washington wins, but that's neither here nor there. If they get over the hump with Washington, I do think they have a great shot at winning the national championship, and we could see them going out of the Big 12 with a natty.
Yeah, for sure. They would definitely like to hang on top, and they they want to go out the right way in the Big 12. And I think it's safe to say they already have, beating Alabama, winning the Big 12, at least having a playoff appearance. But if I had to go ahead with it, like I took Washington over Texas in my preview video, I believe. And I did take Alabama over Michigan, but it would not surprise me if we get a rematch between those two teams, Alabama and Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I,
So
I'm
I
here.
am curious. I hear you, but your video's kind of frozen.
Am
Oh,
I
there
good
we go.
now?
It's moving now. Yeah, you good.
All right, go ahead. Say what you were gonna say.
I definitely want to look at some other teams tonight. We don't have to go through all of them, obviously, but like I am curious now because of Gamecock Chuck and Twisted Rooster. South Carolina, they got a 15 class, number 15, top 15. They got a 5-star in Dylan Stewart. They have an offensive tackle. They have a tight end. You're in the state of South Carolina. Have you heard anything going around from South Carolina fans or anything about signing day? And is there anything you would give to South Carolina to help their team?
They, I'm gonna be honest. South Carolina, I think. I mean, everybody's talking about giving South Carolina a quarterback. I think their backup quarterback will be just fine. Why do you need another quarterback? I mean, is beyond me. But I'm only hearing from what guys on YouTube says about South Carolina. They're talking about the Southern Cal backup quarterback in the transfer portal. They're talking about Malik Murphy. They're talking about Walter Nolan as well, which I don't think they're going to get that. But I mean, I don't know who I would give them. I think they picked up in the last week or two. They picked up who they needed. So I
Yeah.
don't. I guess Walter Nolan, but I don't really see it. I don't really see that happening.
I think it is interesting though for South Carolina. I would give them I would give them a quarterback too, but I don't know like I don't know who to give them out of the portal because there's just not sorry. There's just not many quarterbacks out there. I mean there are, but like you gotta think, man. Shane Beamer, I love Shane Beamer. Think he's a great guy. Is he a great coach? Probably not. I don't know what like how much longer are you going to give him? They can bring in some great talent on offense, but they desperately need a quarterback. And you have rivals in the SEC, like Kentucky picked up your guy Brock Vandegrift from Georgia. You had Dylan Gabriel transfer to Oregon from Oklahoma, which actually kind of caught me by surprise. Kyle McCord's going to Syracuse. All these guys are already gone. The big names out there that they could have tried to recruit to come out there as transfers, they're gone. A couple guys beat you to the punch, Shane Beamer.
Well,
That's not Beamer ball.
they still got that, like I said, that 5-star Southern Cal backup quarterback. He's in the portal still. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think they need a quarterback. Their backup quarterback, can't think his name right off the top of my head, but I think he's just as good. I think he's good. I'm gonna tell you right now who they got from the portal. Big guy. I'm not gonna go through this whole entire list because it's a lot of people. But they have running back Raheem Rocket Sanders. That's a huge pickup from Arkansas. He ran
Yes.
1,443 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns this past season. They have picked up, another running back from South Carolina State, Jawarn Howell. He had 809 yards on 102 carries. That's 7.9 yards per carry and scored 7 touchdowns on them as the ground. And he was a FCS freshman All American this year. So also, as far as because they need some linemen, defense and offensive linemen, they picked up defensive lineman DeAndre Jules from Pittsburgh. He recorded 24 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble this year. I'm getting this off of Sports Illustrated, by the way, just so y'all know. But yeah, so also, if, Malik Murphy has visited Columbia and took a visit to South Carolina. They got a couple wide receivers, Jared Brown, Jaden McGowan. Um, and they also got they got three running backs. Good grief. Oscar Attaway, he had he had almost 2,000 yards on the ground. So he had a lot with 14 touchdowns. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry, 344 carries. That is a lot. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I said this guy, but they got Jared Brown from Coastal Carolina, wide receiver. So, but I think they got who they wanted to. What they were, the position that South Carolina was struggling with is the running back position and offensive line. I think they could probably pick up an offensive lineman. I don't see anybody on the offensive line here, but I mean, also think about this. The offensive linemen for South Carolina, they were mostly injured, and that was a very young offensive line group. Maybe they come back with some experience and they'll be better. Who knows? But the running back position, they definitely filled that. They got some wide receivers. They got a defensive lineman. I think they already have their Christmas. I mean, I think Christmas came early for the South Carolina Gamecocks, don't you?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I look at their transfer portal from this year going into next season and everything. They pick up Rocket Sanders, great. Kyle Kennard from Georgia Tech, great, off the edge. You notice they lost Antoine Wells to Ole Miss. I think you had mentioned that, but they lost a running back, a tight end. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's what they gained. But like they lost their kicker to Notre Dame, so they really haven't lost much. But it's interesting that um, there is talk this week from what I've read online. I follow all these different YouTube channels and articles and everything. Garnet and Cocky.com put out an article 2 days ago that it kind of talked about like they were talking about um, the Gamecocks are in line to land a quarterback for South. And honestly, I don't know where to start with them as far as what they need. But honestly, looking at their roster, I don't think they need a quarterback. So what would like? I don't know what direction to go with South Carolina. That's it's so hard to figure out because they're recruiting greatly. They're getting. I guess the best you can hope for is that you flip a 5-star by some miracle.
Well,
It's not 4th and 31 on recruiting day. So sorry.
go ahead.
I said it's not 4th and 31. It's signing day.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Keep on talking. I'm gonna look something up real quick.
Okay. Yeah. So to Twisted Rooster, Gamecock Chuck, Carolina Jackpot, we love you guys. And South Carolina is going to be great going forward. I believe that. I don't think they're on a decline. I think they had some down years, but I think like the transfer portal, it's kind of ate at them a little bit, but they brought some in. And really, what more could you want? I think they don't need to focus on getting the big name players. I think they need to just get some guys in there, get their coaching staff together, and just try to figure out some chemistry for the offense, a little bit for the defense, and I think that'd be okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the biggest thing that South Carolina did was get Rocket Sanders and the fact that they kept 5-star Nick Harbor, wide receiver, 6'5", 241 pounds, 5-star, um, out of Washington D.C. So that is a big get. Twisted Rooster joins the chat. He says we have a
What's
good
up,
kicker
Rooster
plus
man?
adding. He said we have a good kicker plus adding a kicker from high school. Need a wide receiver one, and we may get a visit from Malachi Nelson coming up. And that's the 5-star wide. That's the 5-star quarterback from Southern Cal that I was talking about earlier. Malachi Nelson.
Do you think he
Before
would go though? Like, do you? Do you eventually see that happening? Like, is that a big possibility, or is it a small chance?
Um, I don't know. I heard I heard before Carson Beck announced that he was coming back. I also heard Malachi Nelson's name pop up in Georgia news. With Ohio State needing a quarterback, with and JJ McCarthy pretty much gone. They're going to need a quarterback. I do think it is possible. Malachi Nelson going to South Carolina is definitely possible. Um, he's seen what Spencer Rattler was able to accomplish there. And he probably likes what he saw from Spencer Rattler. The problem was the offensive line. It was not the quarterback position at all. With that being said, I think it's definitely possible for Malachi Nelson to go to South Carolina. Um, you know, I don't know where else he would go. Oregon already has their quarterback. Washington has Will Rogers from Mississippi State. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know too many more places that he can go. So yeah, definitely a possibility for the Rooster Man.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions more than there are answers for South Carolina right now. But I have faith in them. I don't know about my faith in like Shane Beamer, but I think that someone's out there, and it might be Shane Beamer. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh tonight. I don't know what it is. I don't want to sit here and sugarcoat and say, "Oh yeah, it's fine, it's good, it's good, it's good," because maybe it's not. But I don't know.
Why is nobody why is nobody giving credit to Lenoris Sellers? He was a freshman this year. 6'2", 217 pound. He was a 3-star out of high school. I mean, from what I've seen um in his role this year being a backup, he don't look that bad of a quarterback to me. I mean, Lenora Sellers could be your future at South Carolina. I definitely wouldn't, if I'm South Carolina, I definitely wouldn't want to lose him to the transfer portal. I mean, Lenora Sellers, he has to be the future of South Carolina. Got to be. Obviously, I would rather take a 5-star over him, but you got somebody right in your back pocket. Lenore Sellers, he's fast, he's elusive, he can get the ball out. I mean, I think that's a win-win for South Carolina. If I'm South Carolina, I wouldn't even go after a quarterback. Lenora Sellers would be it. That's just me.
Yeah, for sure. Lenore Sellers would be really, really good. As far as a quarterback, I mean, Twist Rooster says here, if you want to highlight that, Sellers is 6'4", 245, and has a good arm. I mean, that's really good size.
He must
Um,
he must have gained a lot of weight according to this site. He has him at 217, so he must have gained a lot of weight. So, but yeah,
hmm,
still really good though. Still really good.
yeah. What's up, homegrown cowboy? How you doing? Good to see you in here. We got a few people watching. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys subscribe to Mayhem Matthew. Subscribe to Ballard Sports Media. Not sure who's watching on what channel, but subscribe to both of us and leave us a thumbs up. We're live on the Ballard Sports Media Facebook page too. Leave a reaction if you're watching over there. We really love and appreciate all of you and really appreciate it. So I don't know where else to go with tonight's show other than let's drop the link again and maybe see if we get some people on here to talk with us. If you guys want to come on and hang out, definitely it's wide open and anyone is welcome. So
I
any
wanna
of the
talk
thoughts,
about
Mayhem? Yeah,
I wanna talk about while we're waiting on people to hit the link. I want to talk about the playoffs and
yeah,
the new. Well, you could talk about. Well, I'm a Georgia fan, so I mean, I want to talk about our bowl game coming up in the New Year's Six, the Orange Bowl. I guess we can start there since I brought the conversation up. Let's talk about some Georgia versus Florida State. Um, as far as I know, the only guys that are sitting out for Florida State are Johnny Wilson. Oh, well, here you go.
There you go. That's okay. You can continue, Mayhem. It's good to have you on, Cowboy. How you doing?
Oh, doing just fine. Getting excited about the playoffs. It's
Yep.
going to, it's going to be a fun one. Finally, got the Michigan guy Nate here. Woo! Oh, we got Alabama, Michigan, Texas. Oh, this is
Well,
it.
partner
But
basketball too. So, right.
I want to just finish what I was saying, and then we'll kind of talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. But basically, Georgia, I don't know if Brock Bowers is going to sit out. I don't really know too many people that are going to be sitting out that are starters. This is the projected. This is from Sports Illustrated. The projected lineup: Carson Beck. You got Dejon Edwards, Kendall Milton, Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky. They have Brock Bowers sitting out in this game. They Rosemary Jack Saint, Ra Thomas at the X position. At the Z position, they got Dylan Bell, Arian Smith. At the slot, they got Love, Arian Smith. Left tackle, they got Ernest Green. Right tackle, Xavier Trust. Dylan Fairchild at the guard. Tate Ratledge at the right guard. And then center, they got Van Pran. He's going to the NFL. But that's who they pretty much got on offense. Defensively, I don't think anybody's sitting out, not that I know of. As far as Florida State, Jared Verse on the defense and Johnny Wilson on. But I think it's going to be a great game. I think Georgia wins the game, but it's going to be a very defensive game. I'm excited for it, and I hope everybody does come to play. I hope little to no sit outs. And I have Georgia winning 31-17. So with that being said, we can talk about the playoffs now, or unless y'all want to add on to something.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about opt outs and everything. Not that I've seen. I'm trying to pull up this article from College Football Network by Owain Jones. So I want to look at the players that are not going to play, whether they've opted out, whether they're hurt, whatever it might be. So this is what it says from the Alabama side of things. The Crimson Tide will be without backup quarterback. He's third string now. Tyler Buckner, who entered the portal, he's going back to Notre Dame, and he's going to play lacrosse. So he's out. He's out. The biggest loss, though, Ja'Cory Brooks entered the transfer portal. Great the past 2 years is pretty good, but he didn't see a lot of time this year, so he's out to the portal. We don't know where he's going yet. Theo Jones Bell is another receiver. He entered the portal, so nobody has opted out, but they have some transfer portal guys. So they have Quinn Barnes as well as a defensive tackle. Tyler Buckner, I mentioned. Theo Jones Bell, Ja'Cory Brooks. Isaiah Hastings is a defensive lineman. On the Michigan side of things here, they enter the Rose Bowl. They're the number one team. Now, we got Nate on here. Nate, if you've missed it, I got the players that are not going to play in the Rose Bowl. CJ Stokes is a running back to the transfer portal. Zach Zinter is an injured offensive lineman. I've heard that name many times this year, and he's been hurt, so he's not going to play, at least at the moment. Then you have Carmelo English, who I've also heard of. He has an injury, and I think it even mentions his injury. So Zach Zinter broke his tibia and fibula in their victory over Ohio State. So And then it doesn't mention the injury for Carmelo English, but you guys have a couple guys out too, and they're big guys. So
Yeah.
Alabama doesn't lose like starters or anything, but they're guys that maybe could have saw playing time. But you got starters on Michigan, so I mean, does that make I want to hear from Nate? Does that make you even more nervous? And I'm not saying that to
Now,
start trash talk or anything.
yeah, I know what you meant. I would say both. So yes and no.
Okay.
To the yes side, I
Okay.
am worried that that like the backups for I forgot what position for Zach Center is, but I know he's an offensive lineman and he was injured in the Iowa game in the Ohio State game. Unfortunately for him, he is out for the season. So someone has to step up for his position and play their A game if they want to. It's not just that player, but it just but on my other side, no, because we have a lot of offensive tackles that can um, uh, step up and fill in that gap of that offensive line. So I think that's my no part. So, but yeah, um, that's my take.
Well, I think at this point for Michigan making the playoffs for a third straight year and everything, I mean they've set the tone, they've set the standard for at least the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And the way y'all recruit, the way you guys have those talented players, it's next man up mentality
Right. Mm-hmm.
at Michigan. So I mean, you get
Now,
guys hurt, you get guys hurt. So what?
my well, not question, but I know you guys say it, but I'm not disagreeing or anything. But I know most blue blood top program football teams like Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, or wherever, Texas, Florida State, whatever. For some reason, Michigan has in the recruiting cycle of stuff like for football. I haven't seen a 5-star since like 2016 or 2015 or whatever. But and I think that's due to the fact that Michigan has a great development staff, turning 3-stars into I don't know 4-stars or 5-stars, in my opinion. But the way they develop. But I just
Yeah, and they're not the only team that can do that.
right.
What's your thoughts on all this? What's your thoughts on this, Mayhem?
About what?
All the Michigan talk with how they develop players and just next man up, everything. I mean, does that apply to Michigan in your book?
I mean, it's got to. I mean, got to apply for all the top teams: Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. I'd even throw Clemson in there. I know they had a bad year this year, but I mean, it's got to be the next man up mentality. I know Bama and Ohio State like to make a lot of excuses whenever they lose, but outside of that, yeah, it's mainly next man up mentality for these teams.
Gotcha.
I agree.
Gotcha. Homegrown cowboy, how you doing tonight, bud?
Doing just fine. What I think what it's going to come down to is, Jalen Milrow. It's him. It's all on him. He's got the pressure on him. He knows he's got the pressure on him. He's going to have to be the one to make the difference. He knows that
Yep.
everybody doubted him at the beginning of the year. He's got himself this far, and he's going to have to keep on to prove himself. He's got to make it happen. And I think Michigan's going to have a tough time containing them. And I think that, I think he's going to really, I think they're going to have plays for him specifically. I think he's going to do a lot of running this first game to fill out exactly what's going on. And now, on the Texas side here, me being the Longhorn fan, We're playing Michigan next year, so I can't wait to see what happens between Alabama and Michigan. So,
Yeah.
it's Alabama's just. I mean, they've got the talent, they got the tools. They played the rough teams, they've been through the ups and downs, and I think they're going to be on a mission. I really do, and I think that Michigan also has stuff to prove because of what's happened this year.
Right.
It's a very big deal to Michigan. Michigan's going to be pissed off.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all you said.
Michigan's, they're going to come into this game very angry.
I want to ask y'all this. Here's a good question that comes to my mind about this game. Is there more pressure on Michigan because of their 2 straight losses in the playoff? Or is the pressure on Alabama because they've gone 3 straight years without a national title and they're what they're calling the standard of college football? I know Georgia wants to try to claim that, but I don't think them being out of the playoffs is helping their case.
I would say
Mayhem,
both.
start with you.
I'm sorry.
Start with you, Mayhem.
Okay. So, I mean, who has the bigger? I guess Michigan has to win this game. I mean, they want to prove that that they can win a postseason game. I think they're like 1-5 or 1-6 in postseason games under Hairball there. So I guess it's the pressure's on Michigan. They're also the number 1 team, and everybody's going to give the number 1 team their best shot. Also, with that being said, Alabama has a lot of pressure in this game too, because I don't think that Alabama's offense looked like awesome against Georgia. I don't think so. I know they beat us, but I don't think they look really, like what we've seen from previous Alabama offenses. It was a low scoring affair. And I even said that Alabama's going to win a lot of games with their defense. So I think Alabama's offense has a lot of pressure because Michigan's defense is going to be good. And this is going to be a low scoring affair. It could, whoever hits 30 first might end up winning the game. But you need to watch out for it'll be Michigan's offense versus Alabama's defense, and then I guess you can say the X factor on Alabama's offense would be Jalen Milroe. I mean, as long as Michigan can keep Milroe contained, y'all gonna have a hard time scoring.
I agree, and I love that you said Milroe's the X factor because there hasn't been that go-to receiver other than Isaiah Bond, and at the same time, even if it was him, like it's up to Milroe to face that defense. I mean, I think the X factor should always got to be the quarterback. I mean, think about it. He's going up against a big defense like Michigan this year, and it's up to him to find his targets downfield.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to add one more thing. Now everybody has been saying, the Orange Bowl is the no player wants to be here bowl, right? Which is not true at all in my book. But I want to get Homegrown's thoughts on this. The Mad T-Sipper said, I'm hoping Michigan gets blown out by Bama. I don't want the cheaters in the natty, but wouldn't you say that the Alabama versus Michigan game is the Cheaters Bowl? Because Florida State got robbed, Michigan with the scandal. What's your thoughts?
I don't know if it'd be so much called the Cheaters Bowl because Alabama didn't ask to be in; they worked their way in. It was them that did what they did to get into the bowl. They didn't have to pay anybody or do any kind of manipulation to get to the bowls. So, and I've said this before, as far as Michigan cheating, ever since I was in Little League and baseball, we studied third baseman signals whenever he talked to the batter. And we tried to learn the signals. That was part of the game. And, you know, as long as there's not any money thrown around or, you know, anything seriously malicious, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of teams that do the same thing. They try to steal signals.
Exactly.
And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and just go, well, Michigan's a bunch of cheaters because they tried to steal signals. Hell no. Every team does it, just like every team has paid their players, which is illegal as well. Okay? It just so happened, in my opinion, some people, I don't know who, but I really think that Michigan was a target. That's me. Ohio State,
Like someone
they've been doing this
purposefully,
shit.
like someone
They've been doing this
purposefully
shit for
set them
years.
up for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be. But, you know, nobody hung anybody or put a gun to anybody to get the, you know, there's no mafia here. Okay. So, okay, they got caught. They got 3 games off. Harbaugh, you know, he's going to be able to coach. That's fine. They, you know, they in my opinion, they've already done their time. So,
Yep.
you know, and, you know, Alabama, as far as cheating, I mean, how do you say that? I mean, how can you accuse Alabama of cheating? I mean, I can understand that, you know, it might be just a, you know, a phrase just because they got in. But, I mean, you can't sit there and point your finger at Alabama and go, well, Alabama, I'm not going to go for them, or those guys right there, they cheat like they do every year. I mean, it's just not.
I mean, the whole reason why I even said that is because of the fact that, you know, Georgia, Florida State, the nobody wants to be here bowl. That's like the furthest away from the truth. That's why you have little to no sit-outs, and it's a New Year's Six bowl. I mean, this is not the pinstripe toilet bowl. This is a New Year's Six bowl. Only 4 teams get to go to the playoffs, so it ain't like, if you make a New Year's Six bowl, you can pretty much say you're in the toothpaste bowl. I mean, really, I mean, that's garbage in my opinion. I was just saying, like, you know, since they're saying that, I mean, Bama didn't cheat, but I mean, people are saying that Florida State got cheated, right? Florida State got cheated, and they're saying that Michigan cheated with the whole taking. It's not the fact that they were stealing signals; it was the fact that they were going to the games and actually videoing their signals and stuff like that, and stealing the signs.
Well, they do that in high school in Texas all the time. And Texas is the closest thing that you can get to college football.
Yeah.
Because they don't allow recruiting. There's no college school, private schools allowed in the playoff system in Texas for that reason, for recruiting, because that's what schools do in Catholic schools. They recruit. In Texas, they film every single game. The guys are up there in the stands. I even told the coach about it. He said that that's normal. I'm like, really? Okay. Well, I guess I could see that. I mean, you can't just kick people out. They should be able to see how you guys play, whether if it's on TV or whether if it's at the stadium or whatever. So, I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. It's up to your team to physically kick their butts. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I understand your point, Matthew. I really do. But I think when it comes down to it, it's a little bit of nonsense. And let's face it, there's 8 teams that could very easily be in the playoff system. They all deserved it. Every single one of them deserved to be in a playoff. But they didn't because there's only 4 teams that can go.
Yeah, I mean, I do think I've always said this. I do think the committee got it right, based off of the college football playoff criteria that they set in what 2013, 14, whatever it was. So I think in that aspect, the committee got it right. But as far as the most deserving team aspect, I think Florida State did kind of get the shaft.
But do you really, really and truly think you have a lot of knowledge in college football, Matthew? I mean, you got a whole bunch of more knowledge than most people do that watch college football. Do you really think that FSU would be the better team to get into Alabama?
No.
I mean, like I said, I think the committee did get it right. I think if Florida State Bama played today, I think Bama would blow them off the field, and it ain't even gonna be close. But like I said, they did go undefeated, and I thought they were going to lose to Louisville. I thought they were going to lose to Florida, and well, they didn't. So, I mean, in my opinion, yeah, I think they would have got blown out by Alabama. But I mean, some people think that Washington would get blown out by Alabama as well. So I don't
Well,
know.
I really think that the
I
committee
mean,
learned
Washington.
from.
Sorry.
Yeah, I really think that the committee had learned from the Cincinnati playoff game. I really do. They were undefeated, and they weren't at that level. I mean, they were undefeated. They kicked every team's butt that they played. FSU, they're a Power Five, yes, and but FSU was just barely skating by. Now we can say that for other teams. I understand that. We're starting to backtrack here. We're trying to make excuses. So we can keep backtracking and making excuses, or we can sit here and go, okay, what's the best team that looks like by the eye that would benefit making the playoffs better? Who wants to see FSU get their butts whipped? I don't.
I mean, I do.
Well,
I mean, most of the country does not. I mean, if you're,
Right.
around the area, you're ACC fan or whatever, sure. But it's, a
No,
majority,
the
no.
The
Go ahead.
only reason why I said that I would like to see Florida State get their butts handed to is because I've been rooting against Florida State all year. Made 100 videos saying that they were going to lose, and they never did. So, yeah, I would like to see them get their butts whipped. And now that they're playing my Georgia Bulldogs, I mean, I'm really excited for it. And I wish people would just get over the fact that yes, you're not going to win every single game. I mean, I've been a Georgia fan. Since 2005, 6 or whatever it is. I mean, we've suffered a lot of losses. I mean, this ain't. I mean, people are acting like Georgia losing one game is just a tragedy in college football. I mean, get over yourself. I mean, we're going to play in this New Year's Six Bowl. We're going to end it right. I think Georgia has a ton of returning players coming back, and Bauer still hadn't said anything about the NFL draft. I know it's pretty much like Bowers ain't going to return to Georgia, but he loves Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised if he did stay. I mean, I know it'd be shocking to everybody else, but I wouldn't be too surprised.
All right, man.
Oh, wait. That's funny. I thought you. I thought you were calling me out there. You're talking about Brock Bowers not saying anything about his draft decision. It sounded like you said Ballard hasn't said anything about the NFL draft. I'm like, it's not time yet.
What?
I thought you called me out, bro.
well, at least you played for Kansas, though. I mean, you played for Kansas for quarterback. It's a joke.
I did.
Yeah, you did. There's a guy that I was making a joke. There's a guy that last name was Ballard. He played for Kansas against Oklahoma, I think. But whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
General Booty is a quarterback too.
I actually didn't know. I thought he was a wide receiver. But But anyways, hey man, I don't know what's your thoughts about? I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I'm just curious in general. What's your thoughts about Dylan Raiola to Nebraska? If about the flipping thing commit. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on the Dylan Raiola to Nebraska is Dylan Raiola committed to Ohio State. He committed to Georgia. Now he's committing to Nebraska. He'll commit tomorrow to Colorado. It really don't matter. I mean, he's been to 3 high schools. He don't know where he wants to go, and even with Dylan Raiola going to Nebraska, that puts Nebraska at number 19 in the recruiting rankings. So, and it still puts Georgia at number 1. So, and we got two quarterbacks coming in, Coulter Ginn and drawing a blank on the other one, Poliski. So I mean, I don't really, and we got quarterbacks on our bench right now that are good enough to play. So not really too worried. And Carson Beck is coming back, so not too worried about him. If he don't get to play in year 1 with Nebraska, he'll probably end up transferring to somewhere else. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Everything you said, but I mean, I was just curious. But thank you for the information or your thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I just want I know I'm a Nebraska fan, but I just want Nebraska maybe not be back, but but just be back to the part that they just make a bowl game, because I'm sick and tired of Nebraska not making a bowl game not since 2016 for I don't know 7 years or whatever, which is kind of sad. I think I will say it's bad for the Power 5, in my opinion, for fan wise. You want to see a blue blood team do well, even though they have been down bad since. I mean, Texas been there, right? Cowboy.
What's that now?
I was talking about the ups and downs. When Texas was, hashtag not back, and I won't say not making bowl game, but like not under standard. Like the days that they were not really good. And I was just talking about Nebraska, where they're not making bowl game. They're not since 2016. But I just want them to be good again. But
well, yeah. The thing about Texas is that I think Matt T. Sipper can back me up on this. He's in chat. The Texas has always recruited well.
Right.
Nebraska hasn't. And the reason why Texas has been, such a lame team, the past decade is simply because of the coaching.
Right.
And it's just, there's nothing else to say than that. Nebraska, and I'm not trying to piss you off when I say this, but Nebraska for many years has recruited from Texas. That's what made Nebraska so good.
Right.
And Oklahoma's about to get the same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm spinning it here now. Yeah, I mean Oklahoma, you're going to see them decline here, especially when they go to the SEC. So that's the difference between the two right now. In order for Nebraska to get back up, they're going to have a big name coach to come in there, and there's going to have to be a pipeline to Texas. There's going to have, or anywhere for that matter, Florida, Georgia, they're going to have to get somebody in there with some deep pockets and get that program back on. They're half-assed doing it right now.
Right.
Dylan Raiola, y'all,
And no, I said I agree with what you're saying. That's all.
Yeah, and Dylan Raiola, if a guy's got to make that many different commitments, there's something wrong with him. I would think. I don't
Yeah.
think it has to do with the program. I think he might be a little bit confused, a little, and maybe he just made his mind up and said, okay, I feel more comfortable here. Because of my dad. He's part of the alumni here at Nebraska. Maybe I could feel at home here because I don't feel at home anywhere else.
Right.
And that might be it. There's things behind the scenes that we don't know about Dylan and the coaches and everything else. They might not like him. His locker room presence might not be good.
Right.
So we just have to go through the pages and check this guy out. See what happens in the long run. Coach Rule's either going to make them or break them. That's it. Simple as that.
Now, as a college football fan, do you want Nebraska to be good again? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I'm old school.
Well, I know, but
and I'd love to see Nebraska back at it. There were guys that I went to high school with that went to Nebraska and played football, and it's just there's a camaraderie. As you get older, you see the camaraderie, and you don't hate as much as you do when you're younger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would, I remember Tom Osborne back in the day, and I'd like to see somebody bring Nebraska back. It's you kind of want to see new blood. Big 12, they brought in UCF into the Big 12, and they skipped SMU for whatever reason. It doesn't make any sense to me. But you're seeing a lot of changes here, and I guess it's the new time, and we're just going to have to get used to it.
Right, I agree. Okay. But yeah, that was just my question. But hey Ballard, I know you're. Are you planning to broadcast? Are you planning to live stream the game for Monday, New Year's Day? Or you have work on that day?
Yes, actually, I'm looking at that. So I went ahead and scheduled some this morning. I want to go live for both semifinals. And then there's also, I was thinking of doing like the, who do they play? But the Alamo Bowl with Oklahoma. You got Ohio State, Missouri on the 29th. On the 28th, you got Clemson, Kentucky. There's a few games I'd like to watch. And,
Right.
honestly, just trying to get the watch hours up. So just trying to schedule what I can. I know they've already put the schedule out at my job. So I have actually quite a few holiday days off. So
Cool.
Yeah, with bowl games, Marshall is currently beating UTSA 14-0 in the second quarter, early in the second.
Marshall's beating
There you go.
UTSA. Wow.
Yeah, 14-0.
we have, by the way, to update you guys, no bowl games tomorrow, but we got South Florida, Syracuse on the 21st on Thursday. Georgia Tech, shout out to C-Dog and Rec Talk, Rec Man as Lou calls them. Georgia Tech and UCF, the Gus Bus and Brent Key in the Gasparilla Bowl. I'm pulling for Georgia Tech on that one.
I got to tell you something. You have to shout out Mario Cristobal. You have to shout out Mario Cristobal for that too, because if he took a knee like he's supposed to, Georgia Tech wouldn't be playing in that bowl game.
That's true.
That is
That
true.
is so true.
So what about Washington, Texas? I haven't heard anybody talk about that game.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Washington is my I wouldn't say TCU got TCU type of team, but I guess you could say that. But in the preseason, I had Washington going to the playoffs. Ballard disagreed with me, had Oregon, but anyways, Washington made the playoffs. I don't really care who wins, obviously, but I am going to pull for the Huskies because they are dogs. I like Michael Penix. If he would have won the Heisman, I wouldn't have disagreed with that. But I understand why Jaden Daniels won because he had an outstanding career, but or outstanding year. But I
You
think
don't like
Washington.
Texas, Matthew. Tell the truth. You don't
I
like
mean,
Texas.
I like Texas. I was bragging on Texas earlier. I said that they are the most ready out of Oklahoma and Texas. I said they're the most ready team, and I think I mean, if you go back and watch the stream, I was bragging on Texas. I said that they could still compete for the college football playoff year in and year out in the SEC. So it's not that I don't like them. It's just that I just have a weird feeling. I have that TCU type of feeling, TCU versus Michigan. Everybody picked Michigan to win, and then the upset happened. I just have a weird feeling that this can come down to a last second field goal, like a 35-38 or 34-31 type of look here, and and Washington win somehow. But I wouldn't be surprised if Texas won. I don't think they're going to run away with it though.
Yeah.
How would you guys compare? So I think these could be two of the closest games we've had, and we just had them last year too. But like, are you guys getting that feeling like this is like last year's playoff scenario where you just have
No,
the four
no,
best teams and they're gonna
no,
no?
no. Sorry, Nate. Alabama's about to like just blow out Michigan.
Oh
It's not even
yeah,
gonna be. It's not even gonna be
oh
a
yeah.
close game.
That's where
I,
you
I,
run, bro.
I like hearing it, but I don't expect a blowout. I mean,
It's
Alabama. I don't even know if they've ever played in the Rose Bowl, and I'm talking
They
territorial
have
stuff
to,
here
but
because Michigan has
I
been to the
thought
Yeah.
Rose Bowl so many
if I'm
times.
not
Go ahead.
if I'm not mistaken, isn't Alabama the first team in the playoff era to play in the Rose Bowl twice? This is their
I
second time.
agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they did play in the Rose Bowl, didn't they? Alabama.
Yeah,
2020
this is
against
the
Notre Dame. That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
but I mean Alabama. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a 42-17, 42-20. I don't know. It just don't seem like a close matchup to me. I know
You
Michigan
know
has
what
great
else
defense.
too? Oh, sorry. I thought of another fun fact about the Rose Bowl playoff game, but go ahead and finish.
I was just saying that. I mean, I think Alabama blows them out. I mean, I think the close game would be the Washington Texas game. I just don't. I mean, I just don't have a. I have a feeling that it's going to be Alabama versus Washington in the national championship, and we might see another Georgia and TCU matchup again. We might. I don't know, but I think that's what it's looking like to me. I don't know.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say too, they're in the history of the college football playoffs, um, there's never been a Big Ten team to make the Rose Bowl semifinal, so Michigan's the first on that one.
I thought Ohio State did, but yeah, I might be wrong.
No, Ohio State has played in the Sugar, the Peach, the Fiesta.
Oh,
Anyway, the Rose Bowl, you're coming close though, because Oregon made that first one in the inaugural playoffs. It was Florida State, Oregon.
okay.
I still don't know why Florida State's back. I mean, they can at least say, "Hey, we've made a playoff." Like
Well, that's true.
10
That's
years
true.
ago.
Yeah. And they were national champions, right?
Oh yeah, in 2013 though.
They
That's
were
not.
in the year before, but Ohio State won it that year.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm glad. I mean, I was really against the 12-team playoff whenever it first, I first heard about it. I was like, that's so stupid. It should be 8 teams. But I mean, I do like it because now some people are going to disagree with me, but I do think bowl season is going to be more relevant than it is now. And I know what people are going to say. Well, if you're not in one of the 12 teams, then it's going to be lesser important. But let's be honest. If you're not one of the best 12 teams, do you really deserve to be talked about? I mean, do you? I mean, I don't
No.
know.
Well, usually it's what 4 or 5 teams that actually are good enough to be contenders for the championship. That's the reason why they made the
Yeah.
14. So, I mean, this is pretty much the answer to everybody shutting up about, who's the champion and this, that, and the other. The thing is that everybody's saying that number 13 team is going to be all upset and they're going to be just like FSU going, we should be in. Well, this is my mentality. If my team is not good enough to be in the top 4 or top 5 in the college ranks, and then I'm not gonna, sit there and cry about it.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I mean, if my team is not that good to be in the top 5 or 4, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna embarrass my team. I'm not gonna embarrass myself. So, I
Yeah,
wish
I agree.
everybody else would have that. Yeah, I mean, I wish everybody would have that mentality of it, but everybody loves the game, so there's going to be somebody whining.
Let's think about this year's playoff. Oklahoma would have been left out. I
Yes.
mean, they lost to a terrible UCF team and a terrible. Didn't they lose to?
No, it was Oklahoma. They lost to Oklahoma State and Kansas.
Oklahoma State. They're still terrible. I thought they
Yeah.
lost.
Texas.
They almost. Huh?
No, Oklahoma
Are
State
we
lost
talking
to
about?
UCF.
Oh,
Oklahoma
okay. That's
lost
who it
to
was.
Oklahoma State. That's what it is. You got
But
Oklahoma Light and Oklahoma mixed up.
here's the thing, right?
No.
I mean, you're the 13th ranked team. Get over yourself. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean,
Right.
you suck.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
not
mean,
Exactly.
when's the last time Georgia was ranked number 13?
I don't remember.
2007.
It had to be it had to be like because it had to be 2016, maybe 2017, early 17. I mean, we went to the national championship that year, but it could have been early 2017. It's been a long time since Georgia was ranked number 13. But what I'm saying is, if you're not one of the best, like you said, 4 or 5 teams, I mean, be lucky that you even got in. And if you're the number 13th ranked team, I mean, shut up,
Don't
stop
bitch.
crying about it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
Here's some facts here that I came up with when I did my preview videos, but like the number 1 seeds, I just kind of found these and forgot that I had them up, but number 1 seeds are 6-4 in semifinals. Last 4 seed to win was Alabama in 2017. The number 3 team, now in this case, Washington's 2 and Texas is 3. You
Yep.
talk about Texas for a second. They have made the title game 4 times in history, but they're 1-3
Ooh.
in the title game.
yeah.
What about Michigan? That's are they in the final? I actually wait in the final game. You mean the national championship?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want me to be honest, dream scenario would obviously be Texas versus Alabama in the national championship, because then you'll have a healthy Texas quarterback, and Alabama won't have to win because of an injured quarterback there, like they did last time they played Texas. And then if we don't get to see that, I would like to see Michigan versus Texas, because of the simple fact they play next year. It would be, whoever loses, they can get a chance at redemption next year, and that game will be so much bigger. I mean, it's already going to be huge, but it's going to be that much bigger building up to that game.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
crazy too, Mayhem, about that Michigan Texas game. Is that remind me again? Is that the opener for them next year? I know it's a home and home, so they could play 3 years in a row if
Um,
it ends up being like that.
no,
No,
it's a,
Texas. When Texas gets done with Michigan, Texas is going to have a home and home with Ohio State.
but Ballard, it's the second game of the
Yeah,
season.
it's a second game.
Second game of the season. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
just
kind of
like
like what they did with
Alabama and
Alabama.
Texas.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I didn't know if that was the opener or not. That's all I was wondering.
Yep. Well, and as a matter
yeah,
of fact, the year after next year, for Michigan, I think they play versus Oklahoma too, but that's in 2025. But we're right now 2023. But but yeah, I think I would love to see the second option that Mayhem said for the final, because those team has some little bit of history between the two. That's why I want to see it. But at the same time, now I don't usually do the predict scores or whatever. I just leave the action on the field and see what comes out, because I don't want to jinx anything.
Match would have been how great of a matchup would it have been if they would have seeded Washington versus Michigan, a Big Ten Pac-12 matchup,
Oh,
and then you
that
would
would
have
be
had
awesome.
listen to this. You would have had Bama and Bama and Texas in the Sugar Bowl, and let me remind you that is a classic too because it's SEC versus Big 12.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's how the Sugar Bowl's supposed to be.
Yeah.
well, just so everybody knows, when Texas played or beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship, the Texas crowd was chanting SEC.
Yeah,
So
they said
they're ready.
they said they'll never do that.
Yeah. Texas did?
I
No.
remember that.
they lied. The fans lied.
I heard the same thing while I saw Oklahoma what saw Nebraska get demolished last year against Oklahoma at home, and the Oklahoma fans were just chanting SEC, But at the stadium, yeah, I said to them, yeah, good luck in that.
Well, with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, I mean it's a no-brainer that the SEC is a serious powerhouse.
I know, and they're not going to be welcome too.
But here's the thing: didn't Texas fans boo the Big 12 commissioner?
Oh hell yeah, hell yes
hilarious.
they did, and rightfully so. You know what happened when Texas Tech had I forget the head coach's name. The head coach of Texas Tech and the Big 12 commissioner had a little preseason conference and said that the championship is going to go through Texas Tech, and they were talking about Texas, that they're not going to make it to the championship. They weren't going to do it. They were expecting Oklahoma or Kansas or somebody, Kansas State. So when that came back, that's what that was all about.
Right.
So when Texas won, they just made them eat it.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Alabama win, because then I can say, well, we lost to the eventual national champions. I wouldn't mind Texas winning, because A.D. Mitchell would be a 3-time back-to-back-to-back national champion,
Right.
and he'll always be a dog in in my book. Also, I wouldn't mind the Huskies winning it all this year because they're dogs too. And I predicted them in the offseason to make the playoffs, so that would just make my prediction really good. And I mean, Michigan. I'm sorry, Nate, but I really don't think Michigan win.
It was 2 years ago. You said, got to bring it up, man. I got to bring it up. 2 years ago, you said that Sarkisian was going to be fired on his third year. And
Yeah,
I
did.
kept note on that. I kept note on that. And it hasn't happened.
I remember that too.
And he's Sarkisian's done very well. He's really, really built this team up. And I'll tell you something, if he wasn't under Nick Saban, he wouldn't been able to do what he's doing right now because he is copycatting Nick Saban right now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Also, Texas, I mean, with the NIL coming in, Texas has a lot of oil money. You can't beat that either. So, I mean,
there's a lot of oil money down south. There's LSU.
But here's the thing.
There's A&M. I mean,
I've never
said.
But one thing I never said was, see, I always thought that Texas had, great teams, right? I mean, y'all had a great team whenever y'all went 7-5 or whatever it was. Y'all had a great team, right? But I wasn't a believer in Sarkisian. I thought he was the Mark Richt Jr. because he would always build up these powerhouse teams and then end up losing to like a Vanderbilt. So I thought maybe Sarkisian would be that coach that would end up losing to maybe a Kansas State, Kansas. Or, I mean, I thought it was going to happen this year whenever y'all lost to Oklahoma. I was like, there we go again. Sarkisian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was thinking they'll end up losing their second game and, they'll be out. But, I mean, they proved me wrong. Sarkisian proved me wrong. But after that Oklahoma game, I was like, yep, I told you.
Yeah, well,
Ewers,
believe it or not, Ewers was the one that blew that game. It had nothing to do with Sarkisian. It was Ewers. A lot of people don't know this, but Quinn Ewers sees a psychiatrist because of anxiety. When he first gets on the field, he has anxiety, almost like it's an anxiety attacks, and he screws up. He throws the ball. He doesn't concentrate. He doesn't think about what he's doing, apparently. And it takes him a little while to get warm up. And that's the reason why he came back during the Oklahoma game and recovered. And in my opinion, that's some growing pains that he's going through. And that's the reason why he's not going to the NFL. Is because he's go ahead.
Here's my question. Sorry to cut you off, but my question would be, he's going to a playoff game. The stakes have never been much higher than this. With his, anxiety or whatnot, is that a concern that you as a Texas fan has coming into this game?
Most definitely. Yes. And he's going to have to get himself clear. And it's just like Milroe with Alabama going up against the guys they're going up against. I mean, it's just he is going to have to get his head right before the game. I mean, this is a 5-star athlete who won multiple championships at the high school level. And he can do it. He's going to have to take it to another level. And that's, like I was going to say, that's the reason why he didn't go into the draft, because he's got to fix that. And I would imagine that if I know about it, then the NFL scouts know about it. And that's not good. So, it's we'll see what happens, if he gets his head clear for the game. And it comes down to Quinn Ewers if the Longhorns be successful. Yes, our defensive backs, they're not the best, the fastest. They're young. That is our weakness. So if Quinn Ewers can do his part, he can win the game.
Now we
Go
were
ahead.
talking about earlier in the stream, and I wanted to ask you, since you're a Texas fan, we were talking about Christmas gifts. Signing days tomorrow, but you can. I mean, what would you want Texas to get? I know, like for their Christmas gift, right? Would you want to see them? What what position? What that they might be struggling at? I know they're really good at running back, quarterback, wide receivers, offense and defense line. They're really good, but what position group do you think Texas may be lacking in? And as far as recruiting or transfer portal, what Christmas present do you want to see come through Texas?
Well, Texas right now is on fire. I mean, on fire with recruiting and the portal. We picked up a badass. Y'all, I mean, you guys, y'all are in that part of the country and those conferences. You're not seeing what's going on here, but Texas has just picked up a wide receiver from Golden. Last name's Golden. He scored 3 touchdowns against Texas Longhorns this year. They picked him up. They flipped Phil Silmy, defensive back who was committed to Florida, who's from McKinney, Texas, North Texas. Okay, they flipped him from Florida, brought him back home, and they just got another guy, T. Sipper. Who is that? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But I mean, they're on fire right now with a bunch of talent. Okay, so I'm not even worried about that as far as a Christmas gift, because they're setting themselves up next year very well. My deal is right here, right now. This game coming up. Quinn Ewers worries me. He does. My Christmas gift would be that Quinn Ewers has a clear conscience. The second would be the defensive backs. Yes, that would be our weakness.
I said that earlier in the stream. I think the defensive backs would probably be a Texas Christmas gift.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well, of course, when you're going
y'all,
up against Penix and Azune, that's going to be tough. Now, since we're talking about it, having a powwow here, it's Texas defensive backs. I mean, they're going to know what's coming at them. They're not stupid. The coaches know what's going on. They're going to have to figure out a game plan to keep up with these guys. Now, what's crazy is that our best corner is a freshman, and he's been lights out, shut down. Malik Muhammad. You're going to see his name during the game quite a bit. And I would imagine they would probably, I would think that they would put him up on Ozuna. So this is going to be very interesting.
I have a question for you, Cowboy, and we talked about Texas earlier, as Mayhem mentioned, but when you look at the actual recruiting class, not forget the transfers for a second. So it seems like you follow it pretty closely, but you got 4 5-stars in the class. You got a receiver, you got a linebacker, offensive tackle, you got a safety. So I look at that and I say that's pretty good. But sometimes, as I joked earlier, it's Mary Flipsmas, and some guys want to flip. Do you think you hold on to all 4 of those guys? I know you hope for it, but do you think that's possible for Texas to hold on to all 4 5-stars?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Kobe Black, that was one of the other guys I was trying to think of, the cornerback. He's he's absolute a 5-star. I think 24/7 has him as a 4-star, which is ridiculous.
They do.
But
And
Brandon
then you got
Baker,
Jarrett Gibson too.
yeah, he's out of IMG. He's a really good running back. But if anybody would flip, it would be him. I mean, Gibson, he's good, but man, we got such a big running back room. I mean, it's crazy. I can't think of anybody else that would flip. Everybody's sticking as far as, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And they're not done. We're still trying to get Tyree Smith, the linebacker, out of A&M. We're still trying to get McKinley from who committed to A&M. We're trying to get another defensive wide receiver from LSU who went to Duncanville High School, which Simmons went to school with. And this is all becoming an effect, and it all started with Arch Manning.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
I mean, if you get a name like Manning, you're talking about Peyton and Eli and Arch. I mean, like, you get a name like that. I mean, why would you not want to go play with him?
Right. And I've heard some, from Alabama fans and, just fans from everywhere say, how in the hell can Arch Manning be a perfect 100 score as far as a 5-star rating? Because Vince Young was the only other player that has ever been a perfect 100 coming out of high school for the Texas Longhorns, okay? But rarely does a team be able to recruit a perfect 100. Well, here's the answer. It's not his physical attributes, which he does have. He's got a grandfather that played professional football with the Saints. He's got 2 uncles that have won Super Bowls and possibly, Hall of Famers. I mean, if you're growing up in that kind of environment, you're talking football 24/7. You eat, sleep, and drink, and you practice with your uncles and your grandfather and this, that, and the other. You're going to have a lot of knowledge. And it's what's up in here in your head that what makes you a good quarterback, and that's exactly what got him the 100 perfect score. That is it. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're thinking, well, he plays for a small school, and well, so did Peyton and Eli. So I mean, everything's there. Now, I'm sure he wished he went to Ole Miss, at some point, but Sarkisian was the guy that brought him there. If it wasn't for Sarkisian, he'd be probably at Ole Miss. But I don't think he liked Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And yes,
And you got to think, I mean, it all boils down to the head coach and Sarkisian, because you got to think he's got guys that recruit for him in ways, and he might call recruits and he might meet with the recruits. But like, I'm looking at Jarrett Gibson's profile. Tashard Choice is a running backs coach
oh yes, he
for
is.
the Texas Longhorns. He
Yes,
brought in a guy like Jarrett Gibson. You got guys on the staff for Sarkisian. It's more
yeah,
than just him, dude. Like, holy cow, he's assembling a coaching juggernaut, it seems like.
yeah. Well,
What about
Sarkisian calls the plays for the Longhorns. Okay, he is a former
Okay.
quarterback. He's a quarterback whisperer. That's what he is. He is the one
Yeah.
that brought him in.
what about
Okay.
we talk about the Mannings. You talked about Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. You even talked about Archie Manning, but what about Cooper Manning? I know he didn't get to play pro, but
Mhm.
wasn't he a highly ranked player coming out of
Yeah,
high
coming
school,
out of
wide
high
receiver?
school, yeah. Oh yeah, he was very highly ranked. He just got injured at Ole Miss, and then it ruined his career. That's the reason why he didn't go any further than what he did. But
Yeah, so
speaking of Ole Miss, I tell you what, they're on fire too, man. They've got a top 10. They got 10 players who are, I think they're 5-stars as far as transfer portal. I mean, Ole Miss is going insane right now. I mean, they're going to be good next year.
yeah, I think now we were talking. I want to ask you a question, homegrown. We were talking about South Carolina earlier, the Gamecocks.
Mhm.
But we were talking about their Christmas gift, and I said, well, I think they already got their Christmas gift because they got like 3 or 4 running backs in the transfer portal, and that's what they really needed. And I think their offensive line is going to be better because, well, all of them were injured this past year. So I think they're going to be much improved. So I don't think there's nothing to worry about there. But as far as running backs go, they picked up Rocket Sanders and a couple other guys. But, people are saying, well, South Carolina needs a quarterback, right? And I'm thinking they have Lenora Sellers. Why isn't? I mean, he should be the next guy, right?
Yeah, I don't know too much about Sellers. Does anybody know where he went to high school? I mean, was it Georgia?
Nope.
I think he might have went to Georgia.
I'm not sure.
I don't know enough about him to make a comment, but I do know that there's plenty of quarterbacks out there right now that are name brands that would be a good fit. Some would probably say, yeah, we've been down that road before. And that's probably what you're going to say, Matt, is that, they took Spencer Sanders. And, he did an all right job, but they want the big badass.
Yeah. I mean, they're thinking about, the reason why I said that is because they were thinking about getting Southern Cal's 5-star backup quarterback.
Moore?
Can't think.
No, it's not Moore. Dante Moore. It's
Malachi.
Malachi.
Hold on.
Nelson.
Malachi Nelson.
Him. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I think Malachi Nelson. I can't remember what he comes.
Is he USC?
What's that?
Is it he committed to USC, or is it UCLA, or who is it?
He was at Southern Cal. He's in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to make sure I'm on the same page with you guys.
Yeah, it was Dante Moore that was committed to UCLA, and Nelson was committed to USC.
Dante Moore is committed to Oregon.
Yeah, he flipped over to Oregon, yes. But he was originally. Go ahead.
You got two highly rated quarterbacks in Oregon right now. You got Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't know if there was a mix-up. It sounds like there was a mix-up, and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. But if Dylan Gabriel's up there, he's going to be the starter. He's the most experienced.
Yep.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. So if I was Dante Moore, I would probably be thinking about, South Carolina if they're going to show the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, these guys put themselves out there. They're going to have to make a choice: stay home or go on. And,
I wonder who Ohio State's going to pick up. Are they going to go with their freshman quarterback of this year? He'll be a sophomore, but are they going to go with him? I think his last name's Brown.
Yeah, Devin Brown.
Yeah, are they going to go with him? Or are they going to? I mean, now I do have a question, since we were kind of like talking about Southern Cal. Now, this rumor has been on my. Now, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say this before I ask the question. Right? I do not think this is going to happen. I think this is just a lot of bull crap, right? But Barstool Sports and a bunch of what you would call reliable sources has said that Caleb Williams wants to end off his legacy as one of the greats in college football, winning a national championship of some sort, or maybe getting another Heisman. And, he had a disappointing season, and he don't really want to go to the Chicago Bears or anything like that. So he's thinking about potentially going to Ohio State. Is that even true?
I have not heard that. I don't think Ohio State would take him in. I really don't. Now Ohio State's been known to take in, guys from the transfer portal, or, just a transfer before there's a transfer portal. But, such as Justin Fields, and I think there's been a couple of others. But, if they're going to pick somebody, they're going to get somebody who's what's the right word for it without sounding, sounding bad. I don't think they're going to pick a guy that makes his fingernails pointed and paints his fingernails black. I just don't see Ohio State doing that. I'm sorry, but if that's a rumor going around right now, I would shoot it down quicker than you know what. I just don't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it. I totally think that Caleb Williams is definitely headed to the NFL. But
Mhm.
with the whole rumor of he wants to own part of a football team, and then now he's not wanting to go to the Chicago Bears. He wants to go to a team that's already kind of built, and blah blah
Mhm.
blah yada yada yada. I mean, the
Well,
talks of
doesn't
him
every
potentially
quarterback?
coming back is, huh?
I said, doesn't every quarterback want to go to a built team?
Right? I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just something that I seen on my timeline, and
Uh-huh.
I thought it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, Barstool. What's that guy's name? Uh, uh, I
Well,
can't think
there's a
of the
bunch
guy.
of
He's
barstool.
yeah, but the what is it called? Unnecessary roughness. What's his name?
Oh, yeah,
Brandon.
Oh, I don't.
yeah, he's a Mississippi State fan.
I think they talked about it.
Hmm.
Southern Cal. Him going to Ohio State. I think they mentioned it too.
Wow. Yeah. Well, they've been known to be wrong.
A lot, yeah.
They're they're more comedy show than really anything else. Brandon's actually a funny guy.
Yeah, Brandon, he claimed that Georgia don't have a top 5 home atmosphere in college football, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But and then
Mhm.
and then he went on to say that he hasn't been to a Georgia stadium since 2012. I'm like, how can you rank a stadium and you haven't been there since 2012? That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, I
But
agree with you.
yeah.
What are you going to say,
Yeah.
Christian?
Oh, nothing. I'm just kind of listening to you guys. I don't really have any more thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Well, y'all
there's
want
still some good quarterbacks out there that are in the portal. I think Howard's one of them. He's one of my favorites. He's definitely a sleeper. That guy is flat out good. He may, as of today, he may
Howard,
have.
is it Will Howard? Is it Will Howard?
Yes,
he's
yes,
Yes,
consistent.
Kansas State. He's good.
that guy is good. Whoever picks him up is going to have one hell of a quarterback. If I was South Carolina, I would be picking up quicker than you know what.
Who's the Coastal
Yeah.
Carolina guy?
Macau. What's his name?
I know who you're
Something
talking
Macau.
about.
I thought
I mean, you still
Grayson.
got yeah. I mean, if I was South Carolina, I'd probably go after him too. He's right in your backyard, right there in Carolina.
He's a good pro style,
Well,
but anyway. Hey Mayhem. I think I'm gonna try to hit the hay, man. It's almost 10 o'clock here, but do you have anything else homegrown for us before we shut her down tonight?
I think that's it.
No,
I've
I think
enjoyed talking to you guys, and it's been a while since I've talked to you, Matt, and uh, Ballard. So, thanks for letting me up, and I really appreciate it, and I had fun.
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, anytime, man. Hey, Merry Christmas too.
Merry Christmas, and everybody in chat, hello, and we'll see you down the road.
Good luck to
Yes,
your
sir.
Longhorns.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Mayhem. What you got for us before we get out of here?
I got Go Dogs and Georgia by 50.
Bama by 70. Michigan, take that. Roll Tide.